I don't know if you realized it, but I play video games. I've got all the games, the Marios, the GTAs, and you know what they all have in common? They take up physical space. And that can be annoying from time to time. What if you have a bunch of games and don't have anywhere to put them? Well, do I have the solution for you? Introducing the Game Room. Why just have games take up a single shelf when you can dedicate an entire room to it? Don't have room for one? Just have one outside, mate. What has some water ever done to some discs? Don't do this, please. Don't. Before you go look at my treasures, I'm going to take a look at my perfect game room / game collection. Because a game room is only as good as the room the games are in. That was a lot of game in one sentence. Fun drinking game. Take a shot every time I say game in this video. Good luck, because Lord knows you're going to need it. Anyway, the main thing I want my collection to be is not boring. So throw some bad games in there, some weird games, some obscure stuff. As long as I have an interest in the game, I want it. I mean, I bought Drawn to Life for Wii. For most people, this game is absolutely worthless, but I had some fun with it for a couple of minutes. Look, I'm invisible. Damn it, I'm talking about my current collection again. First, we'll start off with something very important. Where do I want the game room? This is a very important question to ask. You don't want your game room in some kind of moist cave out in the middle of nowhere. Though I know there's going to be someone who'd love the hell out of that, and personally, if it wasn't for the moistness, I probably wouldn't mind it either. I'm a simple man, I like plain flavoured crisps, sue me! I should stop finishing my sentences like that. What I'm trying to say is that I wouldn't want anything special for the placement of my room. Ground floor will do. First floor is fine too. I don't want to have to deal with the hassle of having my game room out in the cellar or the attic. And before you think I'm ever buying a house for 4 floors, I'd like to remind you that I live in Europe, not in the US. Why are your houses so big over there? Who needs a kitchen the size of a baseball field? I should be happy that I can stretch my arms out and not touch any walls. Look at me. I'm the 1% now. I'd want the room to be as good as a shape as possible to fit as many shelves as possible and still look good. How about an L-shaped room? Have I gone insane? Basically the same question, really. No, I legitimately think that an L-shaped room would be perfect for a game room. On one side you could have the gaming setup, and on the other side you could have shelves to store the games. In one corner I'd have a TV and monitor setup, and in the other corner I'd have shelves and maybe a place to display portable consoles. The big question with this setup for me is where I'd put my CRT. I love playing my Super Nintendo games on here. I really couldn't do without this fat piece of crap. You're the best fat piece of crap that I own. I am talking to a TV. I should rethink my life choices. I don't need any pool tables or shark tanks or anything a Bond villain would have. Because guess what? I'm only the villain inside of video games.
They should shoot the kid instead.
So I saw the video as well.
I swear I don't have a problem.
Oh hell, let's just do what we always do. Hijack some nuclear weapons and hold the world hostage. Yeah?
After having said all this, how does my current collection stack up? Keep in mind I've been collecting for a little over a year. That's a bit disappointing, isn't it? Just a tad? No. First, we need to talk about the garbage. What's a game collection without some garbage to fill up the shelves? I own 2 whole Skylanders games for Wii, and technically 1 more for Wii U because the Wii version of Trap Team came with a Wii U key. You can see I know my stuff because I know what a Wii U is. In fact, I own one. Speaking of the Wii U, this is my collection. F in chat for Mario Maker 1. I own most of the big releases I really want. And Game & Wario. I don't have Yoshi's Woolly World though, and there are some other games I do want for Wii U as well, like Pikmin 3 or Wind Waker HD, but I'm pretty happy with my Wii U library. Look at this sad copy of Twilight Princess. I will fix the box art one day. I swear I bought it like this. Also, the only sealed game I have with Amiibo Festival. Yep, that is my first sealed game. It is Amiibo Festival. I mean, I can't play it anyway, because I don't have any Animal Crossing Series Amiibo. Not that I'd want to play it, because it's one of the worst games Nintendo ever published. Next to Wii U games is my even sadder GameCube collection. 2 whole games. That's it. I own as many Skylanders games as I do total games for this entire console. There are 2 main reasons for this. First, GameCube games still cost a fortune and a half to buy. And second, I don't own a GameCube. I got these GameCube games back when I had my Wii setup, and that can play GC no problem. But this fat idiot, brilliant device, can only play Wii U and Wii. No GameCube discs. It has the hardware to play GameCube, but has no interest in actually having the disc drive to do so. By the way, my Wii is and has been in a sad condition. I think this previously belonged to a smoker because the Wiimote... I think this previously belonged to a smoker because the Wiimote is absolutely cooked. Well, it does work, but the A button doesn't respond to anything, and... Would you want to use this? Like, it's legitimately sticky. Like, it's actually sticky. Why is it sticky? I'm gonna stop touching this now. Quickly stopping this rant, I want to go back to the GameCube games for a second. They are really solid. I've always loved the variety of the GameCube's library, and even with just these two games, it is already brilliant. Sonic Adventure 2 is to this day still my second favorite 3D Sonic game. Sorry I say 2, but I still prefer Generation, but I just had a slight bit. Another thing I really like about the GameCube is the sturdiness of the cases. This is some grade A plastic right here, mate, and don't even get me started on the manuals. Look at this! This could be a novel! I absolutely love the GameCube library to death. These are such good games. Oh god, there was only one shelf covering 2 systems. We've got to kick things up into high gear. Down here is my Super Nintendo collection. I can simply not get enough of this system. I love the Super Nintendo, Tetris Attack, Mario All-Stars, Mario World, Link to the Past, Super Metroid. Seriously, why is this game so expensive? Well, I know why. It didn't sell well back in the day and is absolutely beloved nowadays. That's bound to make a collector's item. But the one thing I really like about collecting Super Nintendo is that you can find some absolute classics for a bargain. I got Star Wing / Star Fox for €10. Star Fox for €10. Or how about one of my favorite games of all time, Tetris Attack, for the same price? I cannot put into words how much I love Tetris Attack. It is like normal Tetris in a lot of ways, you can zone out in the same way, but on a gameplay level it is completely different and dare I say, better. And there is also the occasional really odd title, like Block. I don't know what. I read on a website that it was a good platform of the Super Nintendo, but I just don't get it. I also own the German version, which probably doesn't help. This is also the generation where Disney games were really solid. Lion King, Aladdin, Mickey Mania, and of course you have the Mega Drive version. But these were also surprisingly decent. I also have to do the obligatory rant of Super Nintendo cartridges over here not having end labels. This is really annoying and the decision to do this still baffles me. Why? Why not have end labels on... The North American cartridges have them, so why don't we? And keep in mind that the Super Nintendo here released a year after the North American release, and 2 whole years after the Japanese release. And they still don't have end labels, even though the American ones do. I mean, you can just make your own end labels, but I mean, that's a lot more work, you know? But my question is, how does Nintendo think you would store these? Diagonally? Next to one another? Let's just move on. And now we have my 360 collection. 360 games and Xbox games in general just cost nothing. This is Halo 3, considered one of, if not the best video game of all time. €2.50. And the first Gears of War game, which I also paid €2.50 for. The same can also be said for Saints Row. If you want a cheap console to collect for, start off with either an original Xbox or an Xbox 360. Games on these systems cost pocket change compared to Nintendo or Sony stuff. And then you have this lonely Wii game that didn't fit on the top shelf, so it's destined to live down here. Oh look at that, it's drawn to life. Speaking of Wii games, the aforementioned top shelf has them in spades. Wii Play. Ooh. Mario Galaxy 2. Ah. Cars the video game. I kind of think the Wii is just a bit overrated. It's a good system, but it marks the beginning of Nintendo's casual phase. I don't mind the motion controls for some games, but for most they just feel forced beyond belief. This is also the first generation where a lot of franchises didn't get any games. There's no Star Fox for Wii, nor is there an F-Zero game. Though the Wii was the platform my favorite game of all time was on, Super Mario Galaxy. And funnily enough, I don't own the Wii version, just Galaxy 2. And well, that is because of 3D All-Stars. How bad you may think this game is, it introduced me to Galaxy 1 for the first time, and it quickly became my favorite game of all time. Same cannot be said for Galaxy 2 for some reason. I don't know why I don't like this game as much. One of these games also has a fun story behind it. Driver San Francisco. No, not that Driver San Francisco. Driver San Francisco for Wii. I saw this game on the shelf at the local retro game store and I thought I had hit the jackpot. I didn't need it, I needed it. I went home, popped it inside of my Wii U, and realized it was a 64 on Metacritic. It's a completely different game because this would have been impossible on Wii. Those Nintendo suckers can have a motion control racing game that's much worse than every other version. It doesn't even follow the same story. Well, it could. I didn't play much of it. There is actually a possibility that it does, but I don't think it does. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I own the PlayStation 1. I only have Spyro. That's it. Every time I go into the game store, like the PS1 games are right in front, but I just can't get myself to buy one. Is that all the exclusively home console games accounted for? Yes, let's move on to Switch. This system has some bangers. Mario Maker 2, Breath of the Wild, New Horizons, Mario Odyssey. However, I feel that specifically with Switch games, though I also have this with literally every game that I play, I can't get away from a game for like a couple of months and then after that, don't touch it again. At all. I was extremely excited for Luigi's Mansion 3, but I haven't booted it up since a month after launch. I beat the game and saw that I wouldn't be able to get all the gems in a timely manner, and gave up. But overall, I love my Switch. The hybrid system is just so convenient. I'm also using it in handheld, but occasionally I feel like popping into the TV and using this fake Pro Controller. Do you really think I have the money for a real Pro Controller? I have Wii U money, but that's only for my Wii U, nothing else. Let's go back in time a bit, to the Game Boy. This system is weird in many ways. Mario Land is proof enough of that. Exploding Koopas, Moai enemies, this game is ridiculous at times. Same goes for Mario Land 2. But this game feels a bit more traditional, and that's why this is my favourite 2D Mario game. The creativity at play here is only rivaled by its predecessor, but I think that game has more flaws it trades in for its creativity. Mario Land 2, however, allows you to go to any world you want at any moment. There's a world where you become tiny and fight the free piggies, and there is a level that takes place in Mario's balls. I'm still a bit confused about that one, to be honest. The Game Boy, I also have Tetris Attack. Repeat the things that I said about the Super Nintendo version, but just a little bit worse, and you have this game. And of course, Donkey Kong 98. I didn't fall in love with this game like some others have, but I do enjoy it quite a bit. Plus, I managed to get soft-locked in the second level, so that's fun. I also got Mario Tennis for Game Boy Color. You can feel this is a Game Loft game. If it wasn't for the tennis, I would say this is the prequel to Golden Sun. And then we have the Game Boy Advance games. This system is actually a lot of fun to collect for because it's like this mini Super Nintendo in a lot of ways. I absolutely adore the Sonic Advance games on here. I only have the first one, but they are all great. Donkey Kong Country 2 on Game Boy Advance. It's cheaper than the Super Nintendo version, but that's about it for features. Mine is actually kind of broken because it doesn't save, like, at all. I press the save button, turn the system off, and all the saves are empty. Oh yeah, Golden Sun! I like the first few hours of it, but I can say that I'm not really into RPGs. Except Pokemon, I can really like those games. Speaking of which, the DS has loads of them. And you can see, I don't actually own any of them. That's because of this little guy. This thing has prevented me from properly collecting DS since I knew that the system existed. I adore DS games. This system has a massive library of great games. But this flashcard has kind of prevented me from properly collecting DS. And you may ask, why did you buy it then? Well, I didn't really buy it. It came with my used 2DS that I bought. So I did kind of buy it, but that's not the point. The fact that I can play any game at any moment with this flashcard kind of prevents me from properly collecting DS. DS games are expensive, they're going back into fashion again, and Pokemon is always expensive, no matter the system or time. Pokemon Black and White are practically collector's items by this point. However, this flashcard has also saved me a lot of hassle. I own a DS Lite that I legit take to school with me. What? I hate mobile games. What do you want me to do? And in that situation, it is perfect to have a massive library with you at all times. Playing New Soup and want to play some Tetris? Go right ahead. Having said all of this, here's my DS library. I got most, if not all of these from a friend who wasn't really playing them anymore. But that means that the games, aren't that good? I mean, no one's gonna blame me for not liking Ratatouille for DS, right? The annoying thing is, he gave me the cases for New Super and Mario Kart DS, games that I would love to have in the collection. No offense or anything, but I find this really annoying. Everything is here, the manual, the booklets, just the game is missing. There's also 2 games that he's just had the opposite problem with. Professor Layton and Brain Training don't have their cases, which are incidentally also games I'd like to display. Another fun thing, this Star Wars game is a North American copy. This is impossible to play over here without a modded DS. In fact, I had the same thing happen with a copy of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon for 3DS. Here it is. I'm willing to do a giveaway if anyone in the States cares enough about Dark Moon. For the 3DS, I have a bit more quality. Don't ask me why I have 2 copies of 3D Land. And yeah, I don't own Tomodachi Life. Yes, I'm sorry. The local retro game store doesn't have it, and I needed to emulate it anyway to record it. Mark my words, I will one day own a copy of Tomodachi Life proper. And the rest of the games is basically the same garbage as the DS library. Tom Clancy's 3D... whatever on 3DS. I didn't even know there were Tom Clancy games on 3DS before I got it. And I have not played it yet. And that's actually about it for my current collection. Sure, I have some fun stuff like the Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch or the special booklet for Mario Maker 1, but that's about the gist of it. Future Sandal here, just want to pop in for a minute to remind past Sandal that he owns an Amiga 2000 and forgot to say a word about it. My dad bought it back in the day. You could make the argument that's not really a game system, but we have so many floppy disks with games on them in the cellar that it's more of a game system than anything else. I don't use it as much as the other systems, but that does not make it any less cool. Back to your regularly scheduled Sandal. He's an idiot. And I'm sick.
Come on, Cranky, take it to the fridge. Walnuts, peanuts, pineapple smells, grapes, melons, oranges, and coconut shells. Oh yeah!
Now, my collection may not be the biggest, nor the best, but I'm kinda happy with where I am. Just in writing this video, my collection already grew to the point where some of the jokes didn't even work. I already have 2 more Wii games. This shelf has 3 Wii games now. When I wrote the Wii part, it only had 1. I'd love to do something like this every year, just kind of showing my collection, showing the new games, and saying what I think of them. At first, I also wanted to include a bit of a history of my collection kind of thing in this video, but this video is already getting pretty long, and I don't think you Zoomers would be able to keep your attention spans that long. Now, the big thing that I think some of you may be asking at this point is it worth collecting video games? Couldn't you just emulate them on a PC? And you would have a point. Most, if not all of these games would be perfectly emulated nowadays on a decent PC, but there's just something about plugging in a Super Nintendo to a CRT TV and using an original cartridge with the tactile feedback of the original controller. It's just more exciting than emulating it on your PC using a ROM on an LCD display and likely using an Xbox controller. If you've ever been interested in the history of the gaming medium, collecting video games is a great first step in showing your appreciation for the gaming medium and its history. Not many people play these old games nowadays. It's mostly just playing the new stuff, but you might find your favorite game in the backlog. Though if you really want to preserve games and that's all that you want to do, you could rip all the ROMs from the cartridges and put them all on an SSD with the appropriate emulator and it would just work like that as well. But then you're doing it on PC with ROMs and stuff. This is way cooler. And ripping ROMs from a cartridge should in theory be illegal, because no matter what you do, discs will rot and cartridge batteries will deplete. Though you can just put a new battery in a cartridge, rotting discs will start to make some Sega Saturn and PS1 games go away completely within 10 to 20 years. There are some ways to make this process go as slowly as possible, like minimizing moisture, but eventually every retro game will likely become unplayable. The same goes for the consoles. They will start to wear down over time and they'll become harder and harder to repair. This is why emulation is still vital for preserving video games, because the future of retro video games is inevitably going to be on an emulator. That's why I think that legalizing ROM sharing is vital for keeping old games alive. Companies can't always be trusted to preserve their own media. Some games like the Super Nintendo Satellaview version of the first Zelda game have been partially lost. Now, what do I mean with partially? In this case, the game had an orchestrated soundtrack and a narrator that has been completely lost, while the game itself can be emulated because people have shared the ROM of it. But I think I've been blathering on for long enough. Besides, I still need to go to court over my preferred flavor of crisps. It turns out I didn't actually get sued with my favorite flavor of crisps, but instead, because I made a video promoting emulation, which Nintendo does not like. I am legally required to state that that emulation is bad, and it's illegal, and it's bad, and it's not good, and it's illegal, and it's bad, and it's not good. Thanks for watching to the end. I hear rumors that if you like and subscribe, you'll get a cookie. I don't know about you, but I'm doing it right away.